Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Extra Time TV. This is Sooklal.
I'm Kevon Campbell.
And Kevon, international football has returned, and specifically Trinidad and Tobago takes on Panama at the Atobol Stadium. And it's exciting because Dennis Lawrence has tried a new approach over the last couple of months. He's called up a lot of high school players, Tyrell Emmanuel, Justin Sadoo, just to name a few, Garcia, one of the trio of Garcias, the young Garcia.
Tres amigos.
Yes. I think that'll be the name for them from now on. So guys, know this: Levi, Nathaniel. But you know, it's a very interesting approach. A lot of people it has drawn a lot of divisive opinions. Some people saying it's too early, whatever. But he has decided on his 24-man squad. It's very different. What do you think, Kevon?
Andre, Coach Lawrence, we want to build on his defensive displays last two games. I mean, 1-0 against Guadeloupe and 0-0 against Martinique. Those are good, fine defensive displays. And I think that going into the game, it will be a different test to those two teams. The Panamanian outfits, they are different in the ways they play, and they are hungrier because Coach Hernan Dario Gomez is going to be looking at the fringe players to cement their spot into the World Cup booth. Now, when you look at the lineup that Coach Lawrence chose, I mean, yes, you have those youngsters, but also you have experienced guys like Fonset, Daniel Saros, who's actually playing for Huticalpa, and he came in for this game. Also Dylan, who plays in Belgium, sorry. So those guys coming in adds a bit of flavor to the mix. And I think that, again, with World Cup coming up, he's going to want this test for these players and these new players, because these new players could form the nexus of the next qualifying campaign. So it's important to start right now. And I do think the result is not that important. But what's your opinion on Coach Lawrence's selection, and do you think we can get the better of this pretty good, I would say, Panamanian team?
Well, first of all, you mentioned something really important about the result. Dennis Lawrence is clearly thinking about the future. I think it's a very ambitious and proactive step because of the current climate of Trinidad and Tobago football. We are not sure if there's going to be a pro league. There's a lot of difficulties taking place, and we need a professional league. And what Dennis is doing is, he is working on what he has, and he's bringing these players in. And you spoke about it in the last video, where getting these guys in the right environment is important because we're not sure where they're going to get their playing time. And the squad is definitely a team that is a combination of experience and youth, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. And I think the more caps these guys get under their belts now, it would bode well for Trinidad and Tobago when the actual competitive games come. And then there's the updated version of the Gold Cup, which we'll talk about that on another shoot. It's very different, and we qualified, apparently. Nobody seems to know about that, but we qualified. But to answer your question, this is a very interesting game because Panama is going to the World Cup. And to choose us to play a friendly they are not gonna. Panama is fine-tuning their squad, so you are going to get a very competitive game. Mr. Gomez is a coach that I really think has a lot of experience. He was at Ecuador before as well, and I think these guys are going to get a proper test, and this is what you need. And what people need to be wary of is that don't expect too much of these guys. Don't put too much emphasis on the result. Obviously, we'd like to win, but what we're really looking at is development of these players, so that they will have a progression of development, a pathway. Because if these guys just sit there, they don't get any football, they're not going to develop. And I think this is the perfect test. I think the fact that some of the other guys that didn't get called in the finalists they are in the training camp and are exposed to that environment, it is healthy for them. I don't know the details about what sort of developmental plan they have. Hopefully we'll talk to Dennis Lawrence soon about that. But I'm excited. I love to see these kinds of risky calls. People had some issues with the Super League call-ups, but I am more supportive of these guys who are very outstanding in the high school football. But my only concern is match fitness. It is a friendly, so you can make substitutions and so on. But these guys, some play for like Justin Sadoo plays for Point Fortin Civic, but none of these guys have really been playing any competitive football right now. And there's a whole other topic right now, if you go on Wide 868 and all those forums, about these guys need football and they're not getting it. So it may be a leap too far. That is my concern in terms of the physical demands on these players, and I hope that it does not affect the players' confidence. And I think Dennis Lawrence has enough experience to guide these guys and explain what he wants from them. And one word to describe this whole thing for me is I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. Andrew, on the Panamanian side, the coach will have added impetus because Panama's last displays were awful. In the last 2 games, they conceded 7 goals and scored none, losing to Denmark and also to Switzerland in Europe. So they'll be coming back thinking, hey, confidence is a factor. We need to up this. So the players that on the fringes in the Panamanian team that may have been on the bench in those 2 games, they get their chance now. And when you look at Panama's team, the team that's going to play in the World Cup, they're aged. Guys like Felipe Baloy, Blas Perez, Luis Tejada, these individuals, even Roman Torres, they're all over 30.
The big star himself.
Yeah, and Baloy, Tejada, they're like 35 and older. Yeah. So I think that Panama's bench is going to come into play at the World Cup because they play like England and Belgium. So off the bench, you need to have that star power, fit star power to come on to replace those guys. And Andre Blas Perez, he got a red card against Denmark. So you see where maybe in the World Cup, these young guys, they can get a chance because those aging guys, they're not going to last long against fit teams like England and Belgium. Yeah. So I think that this game is so important for Coach Hernan Dario Gomez and the Panamanian national team to get those players fit and get those players banging and on form for the World Cup to creep into that squad. So I think that for Panama, it's key. They need this game. And for us, we're going to have to play that. So that intense competition is what both countries need, and I can't wait for the game at the Bowling Stadium.
Yep, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Panama, in a lot of ways, echoes Trinidad in their journey right now. You know, they're going to the World Cup. When we got to the World Cup, our players are already in their 30s. Yeah. A lot of our best players, our Soca Warriors squad were really at their peak in the 2002 qualifiers. Yeah. But you know, when they went, and they made a good account for themselves, and this is why the preparation is so important, and this is why playing a friendly against Panama benefits us. Yeah. Because it's not just some meaningless friendly against a Caribbean island. This is a team that is preparing, and they are going to be trying things, and they're going to be competitive. They want to win, and I believe this is an exciting approach. And I know I said that before, but the reason why I'm saying that is it's that guys like Justin Sadoo and so on will be getting to play against guys who are going to the World Cup, which is perfect for his, their physical development and so on. Yeah. But, just to be more specific, Kevon, a lot of this squad we are familiar with. Mm-hmm. But what are your thoughts specifically on players like Justin Sadoo, Judah Garcia, and the high school players? We spoke about it before. But now they're getting their senior call-ups. Getting the call-ups and training is one thing. Yeah. But now they're actually in the squad and they're probably going to play. What are your thoughts on these types of call-ups?
Andrew, the time is now. It's not next year, not in 2 years' time when they turn 20. It is now. Because when you look at cycles, when you build a team, you need to have a clear start date of a cycle. So having these guys come on at this point in time shows that, okay, you are planning for the next cycle, next World Cup, and World Cup qualifiers for the next 2 periods. So getting them in now, getting their feet wet, that's better than anything I can imagine for guys like Sadoo. And when you're in this environment, when you play with pros and against guys who their livelihoods are dependent on it, not just high schoolers, your mentality changes, your entire approach to first team action changes. And so being in pressure environments builds athletes. So it'll be nothing better to have them playing against this sort of position in this sort of climate.
Yep, I agree, because one of the things we could relate to, we actually know some of these guys. Yep. We interviewed them. We played football with Justin Sadoo right here in Raw Fitness, and he has an impeccable attitude. So congratulations for him. Yeah. Judah Garcia has been performing well, just like his brothers. Playing with his older brother now. I mean, that must be pretty cool to have your 2 older brothers on the national team. Yeah. I can't imagine what I was like. I mean, we could probably even do a top 5 about that with brothers on national teams. But, it's exciting. Tactically, Dennis Lawrence likes to play attacking football. He loves to play with those 2 wide attacking players. How do you think tactically Dennis Lawrence may approach the game and how he may lay things out? I mean, we're speculating right now because I did a video which I took with a swipe because I wanted to see the last 2 friendlies and we could not see it. So you can check that video out there. It's very frustrating. You'd love to see the games, So I can't accurately say what he did in the last 2 games. It's just what I read about, just like everybody else. But if you had to guess based on the type of players, Justin Sadoo is a attacking midfielder, Judah Garcia and these guys. Do you think that he is going to adapt his strategy for them? What do you think?
I think Dennis Lawrence enjoys this 4-2-3-1 formation. And I can see either like Sadoo or Hakim Garcia playing in midfield. I mean, it may be too early to start Sadoo. He can come on later, but I think Garcia, he can start the game and be that trequartista player to get on the ball and spring passes around. And at the back, I think he's still going to play Osiris and I think this guy...
Curtis Gonzalez.
Yes, Curtis Gonzalez, who played an integral part in our last qualification campaign. They're together. I think Lawrence will play them together. And up front is either Hakim Roche, who played a lot under St. Feet, and also Lawrence, or Dylan, who plays in Belgium. So I would like to see Dylan start, but he may start Roche as being the guy who has the most experience, and then bring on Dylan. So I think that Lawrence, his his approach play may be different, but the characters will be different. So I think his ethos will remain the same, but players may change.
I agree. I think the defense, along with Alvin Jones, our buddy, the guy who scored the goal that sank the US.
Yeah, the worldie.
Yes, the world that shot. Alvin, the centre back pairing. I think where he's really, I love that he's experimenting on the offensive side. Nicholas Dillon, I met him a couple times at Central FC, Justin Sadoo and these guys, Judah Garcia. It bodes well. I don't know if they're going to start though, but I could see Justin Sadoo coming in maybe in the second half because there's a risk of that first game. You want to gradually get them into the setup. We've seen it with national teams. I use for those of you who know, I always use Saviola as a great example of putting players into a team. Back in 2002, everybody knows Argentina has Batistuta and Crespo and all those strikers, even if you don't know, which is shocking. What they did was Saviola, they slowly edged him into games. He would probably come on in the last 15 minutes, and he's a world-class proven striker. So that this is where Dennis Lawrence will show his developmental skill, where he worked with Belgium, he's a scout, he's familiar with these players. For all Mr. Gomez is probably talking to Dennis. I don't know, Dennis, what can you tell me, Dennis, about Belgium? But that's something that the plot thickens. So there's so much little dynamics in this game that is, I keep saying, I probably said exciting about 4 times. I'll probably put a graphic for how much times I'd say exciting. But I think he's going to go with the system that works for him. I think he chose players based on the characteristics that fit his system. And Justin Sadoo is that player who could, is very good at managing a game. He plays at different speeds. He could switch gears, just like Garcia. They are very composed for their age. But the one question I'll have to ask outside tactics, do you think that many people are saying that high school football is not a proper gauge for these players yet? There are some people that say high school football is not really, the right way to gauge these players, and these guys should be playing professional football before they get called up. I think there's a yes and a no part to that question. There's no right answer for that. I think based on the circumstances, Dennis is doing something that works. But what do you think?
Andre, competitive football is competitive football, regardless of age. So if you play at that level, if you play against guys who want to win, who the atmosphere is there, because Andre, we have been to Pro League games compared to intercolor games. The atmosphere is there in intercolor games. That pressure is there. When you go to school the next day, you are the talk of the town or you're the one they throw under the bus. So that pressure at that age is still very good. And that pressure is not always there in Pro League games. So I can see where, yes, their age is not the same, but again, it is pressure football. So I'm happy with it because, again, the next step is the Pro League. So why not do high school? These players over the world, the same ages, they play for national teams. So I don't see a problem with it at all. Okay,
so just to wrap things up really quickly, because cameraman is saying we have like 5 seconds left. If you had a player to watch in this game, who do you think it would be?
I'm going to go with Gonzalez, because it's time for him to actually, in this cycle, to be that leader at the back, because he's of good age. And I think that going in the next World Cup cycle and Gold Cup, he has experience and he should be bossing and managing this back four the way he should be able to and the way he can.
Yeah, for me, although I could say some of the safe guys, I want to see the new guys, and because I'm a fan of Judah and these young guys, I would love to see Sadoo. He's not a player to watch, but he's a player I'll be watching. I think it'll be exciting to see his style of play, because I think we don't have those type of midfielders right now. So we'll see how it goes. So with that being said, Kevon, where can we find you?
Kev868 on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me at Andrew Sooklal on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the game at the Adebolan Stadium. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because when you do that, you automatically qualify for prizes such as
FIFA 18.
Yes, and other cool stuff. So subscribe because you need to.
Follow us on internet, media, axtv-media.com,
Yes.
and also Facebook.